everybody, welcome in. This is Carol from Crafty and Crazy, and today I will be doing a demo to show you guys how to make these cute little purse-shaped little journals that fit in your purse. I do have kits that are available for making these on my Whatnot, so if you haven't joined Whatnot, stop by and see me. Your kit includes your choice of paper. I'll link the listing below that you guys can look at the different options that are available. You'll also receive a mini composition book, 1 foot of black ribbon, your choice of either thin or wide for the little decorative piece. And that's what the thin one looks like, and that's what the wide one looks like. And you'll get a longer strip than what I have in here. I had just already cut down the one I'm going to use for my demo. That way you can decide if you want to center, how you want to center it. For example, this is the same trim, but I centered them differently to give different looks. So you'll get a little bit longer piece than these. You'll also get some little dots to do your faux little rivets on your purse. And then you also receive the monogram letter of your choice. I didn't cut one to use for my demo because I'm just going to make the journal part of it. You would just be attaching the little letter at the end. All right, so let's get started. Let's move our little examples up here. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start working on the journal. Now, to do this, the tools that I recommend using are an X-Acto knife or a different little straight edge kind of knife. When I'm cutting with one of those, I always use a metal ruler because a wood or a plastic one, you can end up digging into it with your knife. Some scissors and glue. The glue I am using is the art glitter glue. I just buy it in larger bottles, and then I have these little 3-ounce bottles that I refill into that include the little fine point tip, and they're like an easy squeeze bottle, and they also have a little silicone lid on those. All right, so let's get started. The first thing, and you either need a pen or a marker. Grab a marker. The first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to line this up on my mat with the corner at a corner, and I'm going to mark 1 inch out on both the top and the side, and I'm going to mark a little before the line, so I'm cutting off my lines. We're going to line up this corner on my mat, and then mark 1 inch and 1 inch. All right, so now we are going to take our ruler and we are going to line it up to where we cut off those marks. And then we're going to just cut through. We're going to keep cutting until everything comes loose and just keep following that same mark. You push down on the ruler really well, it won't slide. There we go. And we're going to turn and we're going to do the same on the other corner. Line that up with our marks. And push down and then just start slicing. Make sure you keep your little fingers out the way. All right. So that part is done. Put our lid back on our knife. I will also link the tools below, but they can also be found on my website, craftyandcrazy.com, in the shop on there, under the tools that I use section. All right, so the paper that you receive in the kit is 5x7. It's a little bit more paper than you need, but I'm going to take and line up this corner. And I want the black part to show to give the nice little like bottom of the purse look. So I'm going to line this up right above that. And I always say it's better to have it too little than too big. I mean, too big than too little, because you can always cut off more. Alright, so I'm going to mark over here at the end. And then I'm going to slide this back, keeping it still lined up with that black part. And I'm going to mark the top of this journal. Well, I'm going to mark right after the top of the journal so that I'm not getting my mark on the part we're keeping. Okay, let me grab my little... Oh, I did that on the paper wrong. I did it on the... We would only get one. Okay, I'm just going to have some marks on mine. I did it the wrong direction. It's one of those days, y'all. Alright, so you want to make sure you have, space to do the journal twice on your piece of paper. Before you mark this. Alright, I think I'm going to try to... I think I cut this where I have a little extra. That way I can try to, cut off some of this mark that I made from earlier. Usually you would only have to cut twice, but I'm trying to get rid of my little mistake. Okay. Alright, and then we are going to do that a second time to get for the back. And line that up. I am going to give myself a little extra space so I can cut off where I messed up earlier. And then we'll mark how tall we need it. I'm going to cut off the extra. And I'm going to cut off my little extra to get rid of that little error I made earlier. Okay. We should now have two little parts that are as big as our journal, but still leave the black part at the bottom to be showed. Alright, that works out. Alright, so now we are going to, before we attach the paper, we are going to take our ribbon and we're going to cut it in half. Just going to fold that in half. Alright, and then you don't have to be specific about how far in you put your handles. That's kind of up to you. I kind of just eyeball it. And I don't put the glue right at the edge because I don't want it to ooze out and end up on the journal pages. But I'm going to make like a little rectangle right there, and then about the same distance in here. And I do mine with the shiny side of the ribbon up. And I'm just going to place that where I put the glue. And then make sure they're nice and straight and about the same distance. You have a little bit of time with this glue to shift stuff a little bit. So it's slightly forgiving. Okay, and then while that is starting to dry, I'm going to attach these to here. Now it is your personal preference of whether or not you would like to de-stress your page before attaching it. Alright, so we're going to keep going all the way around, including over the ribbon. Now you want it close enough to the edge that it's going to hold down the paper really well, but not too terribly close because you don't want it to ooze out. And now along the bottom, you're going to do right above the black line, right there. And then I'm also going to do some along the in the middle, kind of spiraling it so that it holds down all of that paper. Alright, so it's only slightly forgiving, so you got to try to get it lined up when you put it on. I didn't get mine lined up quite right. I'll be okay. I have it too far down, so there's a little bit of my journal showing. I can add some other extra trim on there later. Or de-stress it. I might just de-stress it. It'll help with that. Alright. So now that we have that sheet on there, peel back our journal pages and snip off that extra paper. And just follow right along that line you made on the cover earlier. Alright, let me find my... I'll worry about de-stressing it later. Okay, so now let's do the other side. So we're going to repeat the process. We're going to put glue on for our handle. And now you have the handle on the other side as your guide as to where to put the glue, because you want your handles to line up. I'm going to do shiny side up. I don't know why that is so hard to say. And then make sure they're nicely lined up. And they should be about the same length since they were half of 1 foot. Hold that there for just a moment. Okay. And then we are going to get our piece of paper on here. We're going to repeat the process we did on the front. We're going to go all the way around the edge. And then right above that black line on the bottom. And then also get some glue in the middle. And try to line that up with that black line. Yeah. All right. And now that that is on, and cut off the points right along the lines we cut on the cover earlier. There we go. All right, so now we are going to add our little rivets. So right where you put that ribbon at on the inside, you're going to make 2 little dots. You can use part of your paper decoration to help you line those up. One right there, and one right there. Put this over. Put one on each of the back handles. There we go. All right, so now we are going to attach. I was going to use the thin one on here. And I do have the letter. I didn't cut out the letter since I was just doing a demo. So you want to make sure you leave enough space for the letter. And kind of line up where you put the trim based off of that. So I'm going to line up because I want this little dip point to be my middle. Now, when you are putting on the little lacy bit, you do want to make sure you get glue on all the different little parts, especially if you're making this for yourself, if you want to use it as a purse journal, a purse journal in your purse. I thought it was a cute idea. Or in case you're giving it to a gift for somebody and they want to use it for that. You want to make sure that it's on all the little swoops and curves so that all those pieces stay attached during travel. One little fine tip bottle of glue makes a lot of sense. I don't want a ton of it. It does dry clear, but I still don't want a ton of it coming up when I put it on. All right. Now I'm going to line this up. Ooh, the other way. So I have that little dip in the middle. Okay, and then I'm just going to snip off those little ends. Right, and then I was looking for my little ink so that I could distress around the edge. Will help with some of, if you didn't get your paper aligned just perfectly. I don't know where my black de-stress ink has gone to. So I've just been using my archival ink. It just means I can't touch it for a little bit right when it gets done, or it ends up everywhere. I haven't seen it in a while. At this point, I think I'm gonna have to order another one. It'll also give a nice little extra pop around the edges. Nice little de-stressing around the edges. I'll do that on the back as well. There we go. And that is our finished little product, minus the still have to glue on the monogram letter of your choice. I cut mine on my Cricut. If you get my kit from me on Whatnot, you get whatever letter you would like included. And then your paper of your choice, and also if you'd like the wide trim or the thin trim, you'll get everything you need in the kit to make this cute little journal. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today, and I will see you next time.